the Meadows neighborhood, Castle Rock. I think I'm on the Plum Creek Trail, but heading back down to the main section. Under the train tracks here. There, I'll pass you on the left here. Riding along the Plum Creek Trail, heading south, and I'll be making a left turn up here to go on Hangman's Gulch Trail, connect up to Woodlands Trail, Woodlands Gulch. Hi there, I'll pass you on the left here. Alright, I just turned off of the Plum Creek Trail and onto the Hangman's Gulch Trail. So now this will be pretty steady uphill, and after I get past like the rec center, it gets fairly steep. think around 9 to 12% grade is the max. So if you keep going south on that Plum Creek trail, it's another 2 easy miles or so to downtown Castle Rock. So this will just be kind of a steady climb. Go under 25, past Douglas County High School, past the Castle Rock Rec Center, and then I'll kind of stop at Founders Parkway where I have to cross over at the crosswalk or light, and then it'll be downhill. So coming the other direction is kind of longer uphill, but not as steep, if that makes sense. So this is shorter, this lower part isn't too bad, but then it'll get steeper. A lot of awkward and blind corners around here. I know when I came the other direction this morning, there's a lot of people out walking, people out with dogs and stuff, so definitely had to go slow on these trails. Now it's about, I don't know, 11:30, something like that. Saturday, early October. I think the high is supposed to be about 70, 75, somewhere around there today. So I'm just taking it slow and steady on this climb back up. There's I-25 in front of me. And then you can see the school buses there. Maybe when I curve back to the right here. This is Douglas County High School. Looks like there's a baseball game going on just to the right. Marching band competition out on the fields. Right in front of me is the Castle Rock Rec Center. And then when I curve to the right here, sorry, you gotta wait for me to get up the hill. Should be able to see Castle Rock, maybe get a view of the baseball field. Call this about the halfway point of my trip back up the hill, but that was the easy half, so it's just gonna get steeper. But once I get to the top, that is all the climbing for today. That's how a lot of the out and back rides go here in Colorado, with one big uphill and another downhill. All right, got across the street here. Hoping I'd get lucky and it could just go. Didn't have to wait too long though. All right, so I am going to take a right here and then go left on the trail. I believe you can also go straight and go up the road if that's your preference. There's Castle Rock right in front of me. Of course, no cars on this section, but it's a little tight in here, so you got to watch out for pedestrians, neighborhood animals, that sort of thing. So this is Woodlands Trail, or I've seen it as Woodlands Bowl on some of the maps. I'm not exactly sure where Hangman's Trail ends and this starts, probably at the street crossing back there, but nice little area back here. So in front of me there's a park, and there's kind of a little oval trail around it, so you can go to the left or right there and get to the same spot. The right, I would say, the way I'm on right now, it's probably a little gentler. Not really in terms of like the up and down so much, but the turns you have to make to get onto this oval section. That might make a little more sense up here. Where you can see if you're coming down this hill and you get to this junction, you're gonna have to slow down quite a bit to make the turn, but going right, you definitely have to slow down quite a bit. All right, so now I'm just gonna make my way uphill back behind these houses. It's maybe 5 to 7% grade in sections in here. And then once I get towards the end, it'll get steeper with like 9 to 12. All right, got another street crossing here. Luckily nobody there. And just continuing up this climb up to Founders Parkway from the Plum Creek Trail. It's a little windy down there, and luckily I'm kind of protected from that back here. And once I start heading downhill, I'll start heading north again and should get that wind as a tailwind, which will be nice. Got the biggest portion of the climb all done. Really not much left. I'm just gonna cross at this intersection up here, take a right, kind of down the sidewalk. It's a little awkward. Take a left, rejoin the trail that goes behind some houses. So I noticed on the heat maps in this area, a lot of people will ride on the street versus that trail I was just on. The trail can be a little awkward there. With it going through the neighborhoods. You get a lot of people walking in there, pets, things like that you gotta slow down for. Also, I think the grade is a little steeper than if you're to stay on the road. Okay. All right, got a little windy there. Hopefully you can still hear me. All right, so finally done with the climb. And I got a lot of downhill. That area is definitely one you want to keep your head up through. There's a lot of little access trails that join in from that neighborhood, and I know when I've come through there before, there's been lots of kids popping out onto there, so wait for a couple cars here. And get going. Alright, so when I came out here this morning, I actually came up a trail. It's just to my left. Right now you can't really see it, which is more of the bike path, and has a little windy climb on the way out here. A lot of times when I'm coming back, I just stick to this street. There's generally not a whole lot of traffic. Avoids that tight little bike path and people trying to make their way uphill. So I'll just curve to the left here. And then if you can see, out in front of me, you can see the trail that I'll rejoin up with. Off to the right, it's kind of a concrete wall. So I'm going to take a right here as I get to the bottom of this little hill. Alright, here's my turn again. Here's that section of trail that I could see from up above. When I was on my way up here this morning, there was about 4 turkeys out in a section of the trail a little lower, so we'll see if they're still around. I often see them back here. This is about where I saw the turkeys before. I'm not seeing them right now, but still might see them a little lower. Got a crossing here at Castle Oaks. Cross. This goes down the west side of Castle Oaks for a little bit and then crosses over again. So this trail is closed for a section up ahead. It has been for a little bit. The section gets washed out, covered with sand quite a bit, especially with some construction they're doing around here. So normally I would just cross back over Castle Oaks here and then continue on this trail. But for now, I think we'll stick to Castle Oaks. It's really not too bad on a portion of the trail, and there is a exit. But then once you hit the sand, there is a lot of sand. So you can see normally you just go across. Continue along kind of parallel to this. But unfortunately that's closed right now, so gotta stick to this. There's some turkeys. So there's where the trail comes out. Oftentimes I'd pass under this bridge, take a little, continue that trail down back to my neighborhood. But we'll go a little bit different today. That street we just passed, Pleasant View, is one of my favorites to ride up. There's a nice dirt road with a hidden mesa, open space trailhead up at the top. But building a bunch of houses up there, and they've paved that now. So unfortunately lost a little bit of my gravel route. I wanted to get a little bit more climbing in today, especially with taking a long break to eat donuts, which is why I was over in Castle Rock. Visited my niece and nephew, had some donuts with them for the morning. So Got to add in an extra hill on the way back. Take care of that. Ooh, and it's windy. There, I'll pass you on the left here. So this section should look pretty familiar from other rides if you've watched with me. I often go right there, continue on the Cherry Creek Trail down to Castlewood Canyon. This section here is kind of my normal route home, and it is super windy. All right, now I should have that wind at my back. And not much left of this ride. It's only about 2 miles back to home now. There, I'll pass you on the left here. Thanks, have a good one. All right, this section in here is one to be a little more cautious in. Flooded a couple years back, and you can see there's a lot of sand on the sides of the trail. Makes its way out onto the trail, and some tight kind of blind corners here, so you never know who you're going to find on the other side of the corner, and there's really kind of nowhere to go. So definitely one I usually slow down through. I came back that way one night. It was about sunset. There's a guy just standing there in the middle of the trail in the dark. Not paying any attention to what was going on the trail. So. And porcupines on the trail there, so you literally never know what you're going to find in there. All right, so that's about it. It was Founder's Meadows neighborhood in Castle Rock. Coming back over here to Parker. So hopefully you enjoyed that. It was about 28 miles round trip, I think, today. Yeah, even though the uphill on the way back is a little steeper, I kind of prefer that in general. Get it over with, and then it's like a nice quick downhill that goes on forever, versus the other direction, which is kind of not bad uphill, but just goes on. And then the downhill coming back or going the other way takes you in that little tight Woodlands trail, and you're guaranteed to encounter somebody walking their dog or something back in there. So it's such a short, steep downhill, it's guaranteed to have an interruption. Even if you somehow manage to avoid any people, you're still going to have that little junction at that oval, and then the awkward road crossings and all that. So yeah, the way back is definitely my preferred route, but either one's too bad. Yeah. All right, thanks for watching. Back here in my neighborhood now, so sign off and talk to you again soon.